self-limiting thoughts, self-limiting beliefs, and self-sabotaging behaviors. We all do that as part of the human condition. And we set our own ceilings with self-limiting beliefs. And I've done it myself, and I've seen it in my clients. When we tell ourselves we can't, we won't, we never will, it's not possible, we're creating that reality in many ways. And so when we shift our language, when we turn down the volume of our inner critic or inner saboteur, and we instead replace those messages with messages of self-affirmation and self-compassion and optimism, we can grow and move forward in a positive direction.
You are now listening to the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, the Going North podcast. I'm your host, certified self-leadership trainer and author of the best-selling book, Stay the Course, Dom Brightman. And you're going to be getting some goodies today from the guest that's up next. Today's episode is sponsored by the brand new Northbound to Your Success shop, where you can buy the wonderful logo, advance others to advance yourself, in t-shirt form, mug form, heck, even a phone case if you like a phone case. Either way, click on shop on goingnorthpodcast.com, cop a t-shirt, hoodie or two, and be sure to tag the host when you do, so that way I can give you a shout out on a future episode of the podcast. Now let's get down to business with the episode for real. And today on the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, known as GMP, the Great, Glorious, and Glamorous, it's the Going North podcast. And my goodness, like, hot dog, this podcast is on a roll, because today's guest could probably fit all three of those G's, because she's freaking glamorous and gorgeous. And she's got this great new book out that is freaking dense in a good way. It's going to be a heck of a lot of content. It's a book that you ain't going to just read. It's a book you have to do. Because my goodness, let me tell you a bit about today's guest. She's an international speaker, blogger for Psychology Today, a licensed psychotherapist with 25 years of experience, and an entrepreneur who founded and successfully sold a national outpatient mental health company in the US of A. So let's give it up for Ms. JM herself, Ms. Joyful and Marvelous Joyce Marter. How you doing today, Joyce?
I'm doing well, Dom. I think that was the best introduction I've ever had. I think I'm going to request that everyone introduce me that way. I love it. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Oh, happy to have you too. That's right, indeed. I know the video version ain't going live, but man, you look freaking fabulous, and I have to acknowledge that. Like, she was like, yeah, I'm going to slay today, y'all. So
Aw, thank you so much.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Man, but more importantly, like, all the success you have, like, did you ever see yourself ever becoming successful at the age of 13 as a little younger version of Joyce?
Not at all. In fact, I struggled with self-esteem and anxiety and never would have imagined that my life would have transformed in this way. We're all works in progress, and I've definitely done a lot of work on myself.
Oh, yeah. That's right. A lot of work indeed. It was actually kind of interesting when, listen to some of your past stuff, where you had some anxiety, and you're in the master's program, if I'm not mistaken, right? Look, becoming a psychotherapist?
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You were scared your professor was going to find out about it.
Right. I thought they were going to be like, you can't be a therapist. You have issues. But guess what? We all do as part of the human condition. We all deal with stress, anxiety, depression, trauma. Heck, we're living through the pandemic, which is a global chronic trauma. And we deal with relationship issues and challenges with work. And counseling and therapy is something helpful and normal. It doesn't mean you're crazy or in crisis. It's like going to the dentist or the doctor or having a personal therapist for your mind. And so I was so happy that when I was in grad school, they recommended that we all do our own therapy. And it helped me so much to understand myself better, to work through some of my anxiety, which I still deal with, but I can manage it a lot better. and learn how to operate better, both at home and at work. So I've loved what I've done as a profession. Being a therapist has been emotionally, spiritually, and intellectually rewarding. And I'm super grateful.
Ah, super grateful indeed. That's right. With over 100 prayer emojis, y'all. That's right. All the gratefulness. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. My goodness. So that's good that they recommended for therapists to have their own therapist because it makes so much sense. It's like, like who's gonna deal with your issues, especially with the whole training piece? Because I'm not mistaken, like you have to actually go through particular traumas, if I'm not mistaken, right? With your training.
Not exactly. We learn about different traumas and we have internships where we work with clients and we have extensive supervision. But as you read through the textbooks and listen to lectures or even meet with your clients, it's really normal to recognize parts of yourself and realize, oh my gosh, that's describing me or my family or my mother. And that can bring up different feelings and issues, and it's good to have a place to work them out.
Oh yeah, that's right. To work them out indeed. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Yeah, because I'm actually, yeah, that actually led to some discoveries too, and you got to learn about you breaking some generational curses, if I'm not mistaken, right? Metaphorically speaking.
Absolutely. So I started learning as I became a therapist and a professional that I dealt with financial anxiety. And there was a time in my business where I dealt with cash flow hell, and I thought I was going to have to file business bankruptcy. And so I did some deeper work on myself, and I realized a lot of it came from my family growing up. My father grew up in the Great Depression. He lived in the inner city of Cleveland. His parents worked in factories. He lived in an apartment with multiple family members. And he understandably had a scarcity mindset, a mindset of fear that there's not enough for everyone, there's not enough resources to go around. And the idea that we have to be competitive around resources. And we're experiencing that now with the pandemic and people hoarding toilet paper and gasoline and things.
Yeah.
And so I really worked hard at shifting to an abundance mindset, which is more trusting and open that there's enough resources for all of us. And if we collaborate together, we think positively, we work on ourselves to the best of our ability, and we align our unique gifts with a need in the world to the greatest extent possible, we can welcome an abundant life that includes not only financial prosperity, but also deeper meaning and purpose, connected relationships, work-life balance, and overall mental well-being. So that is what I love to speak about. And I wrote about in my new book, The Financial Mindset Fix. And I want to help others transform their lives and heal emotionally, spiritually, and financially.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about indeed. That's what I'm talking about indeed. So my goodness, like the financial mindset fix, like my goodness, powerful book. Like when I saw the title of that when your PR person mentioned you picture for the show, I'm like, oh yeah, gotta have your own indeed. And like with all the wonderful stuff that's in that book, like you can't just sit down and read it. It's an actual program. Like Joyce tells you the book in the beginning, it's a program. You really have to go through it. I try flipping through it. I'm like, oh, this is some good stuff. I got to go back to it later. So with all of that wonderful stuff in the marvelous book, and you mentioned the abundance mentality, like what do you think is what holds people back a lot from the abundance mentality?
Self-limiting thoughts, self-limiting beliefs, and self-sabotaging behaviors. We all do that as part of the human condition. And we set our own ceilings with self-limiting beliefs. And I've done it myself, and I've seen it in my clients. When we tell ourselves we can't, we won't, we never will, it's not possible, we're creating that reality in many ways. And so when we shift our language, when we turn down the volume of our inner critic or inner saboteur, and we instead replace those messages with messages of self affirmation and self compassion and optimism, we can grow and move forward in a positive direction. And so a lot of the program, and you're exactly right, Dom, it's a program that's step by step with exercises that I've learned from my clinical training, but they're fun and they're innovative. There's some journaling exercises, some self-assessment tools. They're going to help you build the skills to work on yourself and your relationship with yourself, because the core idea is that self-worth leads to net worth. And we're all innately deserving of all that is good. And when we get out of our own way, we can welcome abundance.
Yeah, you definitely could say that again. Heck, reminds me of this classic law of leadership, like the law of the lid, because you actually had to lift that lid in your own life in the beginning of your whole therapy journey of really starting your whole business and with the salary and everything with your buddy. I feel bad, I forgot his name. Was it Steve, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes, good memory. Yeah.
Yeah.
He and I were both starting our private practices, and he asked me how much money I wanted to make. And this was in the mid 90s. And I said $60,000 a year. And he said, "Ooh, gross. I want to make way more than that." He said, "I want to make well over 100." And I said, "Well, do you think that's possible?" And he said, "Of course that's possible." And that year I made 60 and Steve made well over 100. And he went on to win Shark Tank. He's been on Oprah's Favorite Things. He's built and sold several companies. And I thought, I want to be like Steve. I don't want to make 60,000 a year anymore. And I want to expand my thinking of what my belief is in terms of what's possible for me. So when you started this out, you said, did you imagine that this would happen, that I would have the success that I've been able to achieve, along with the help of countless others who've lifted me up and supported me? And the answer is no. I was much more small-minded in my thinking, and struggled with self-esteem, didn't believe in myself, didn't have confidence, and didn't assert myself or negotiate in the world in the way that I do now. And so as a therapist, I love to mirror back to my clients all that is amazing and unique and beautiful about them, and empower them to align those gifts with a need in the world to the greatest extent possible. And this book isn't about financial greed or materialism or excess or being selfish. The concept is when we have more, we can help more. We can be of service to others. We can be philanthropists. We can give to charities. We can provide jobs or internships. And it starts with us healing our own financial traumas and looking at our cultural and religious beliefs about what money means to us, and identifying how that's shaping and maybe even hurting some of our financial reality.
Oh yeah, financial reality. It's for real. It's like, oh god, inflation. Like there's a giant balloon. Like it's a Great Wall of China sized balloon too. Like how'd you get that much helium in there, bro? Like it's gonna explode. Like no, it's bricks. It's painful. No, don't let it explode.
Right. And you just use the word painful. And I think for many of us, we're financially avoidant because money is scary or painful, or we experience shame or anger or frustration. I know I have been financially avoidant in the past, and now I work toward financial consciousness and helping people face those fears and move through them, because they're usually connected to some fears about ourselves or fears about our future. And so I like helping people with the psychology of money, how they think about money, how they manage their emotions around money, and how to change their behaviors. Because we all know we need to earn more than we spend, we need to save and invest, but it's our psychology that causes us self-sabotage financially.
Oh yeah, definitely could say that again. And like as I was reading through your book and listening to the audio book in tandem with it, like it reminded me actually one of our past guests, Morgana Ray, where she talks about helping folks to see money as your lover, and it seems to be this common thread of really just really crushing those past beliefs and that training that we may have, or even programming, to be honest, that we may have had growing up, depending on the household where you are, where it's like, hey, they say money's the root of all evil. It's like, okay, y'all can stop misquoting that Bible passage now. And it's like, it's a new day where it's like, it's, you see it as a friend, some see it as a lover, you want to take it to that level of really inviting it into your life and not being so avoidant of it. So with this wonderful program, what do you think was probably one of the most hardest things you had to overcome in addition to your self-limiting beliefs to finally really change your mindset about money and welcome the wonderful success and abundance that you have today, and that's still more to come?
I think one of the most important lessons that I learned was the importance of accessing support. And the biggest business mistake that I made was I did not seek business or financial consultation soon enough. And I waited until I was in a jam, until I was in a really bad spot. And I hadn't sought business and financial consultation out of fear. I was afraid someone was going to tell me that my business model didn't work. I didn't seek it because of shame. I was embarrassed of the amount of debt that I had. And it made me anxious to look at my books, so I avoided it. But once I had some humility and I opened myself up to, talking directly about finances with my CPA and my advisors and my business team, help came out of the woodwork. People were happy to help me and really helped me turn the ship around. So it was learning, I guess, moving past ego and opening myself up to some vulnerability and receiving help, and how important that is for all of us.
Ah, there we go. Steer the ship. So is that the reason for the cover, if I'm not mistaken, with the little wheel of the compass on the cover?
Yes, that I hadn't thought of that, but yes, I have these wheel exercises throughout the book. And to me, a wheel is about where are you going and direction and empowerment and driving your course. But it's also a symbol of wholeness and balance. And so my program, it involves 12 mindsets that lead to holistic success. And I identified them after 25 years of counseling thousands of clients. I noticed 12 mindsets that lead to happiness and financial prosperity. And I'm so grateful for the wisdom that I gleaned from my amazing clients from all walks of life and different cultures, religious backgrounds, different financial situations. And there are universal truths. And I learned a lot from them, and I want to share it with readers.
Yeah, that's right indeed. That's right indeed. That's right. Some good sharing indeed. Heck, speaking of sharing, the thing is, everything isn't all sugar and rainbows, because if I'm not mistaken, also in the book you mentioned, even though with the abundance mentality and all this great stuff you were doing, you still had to deal with somebody who was embezzling some fees, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I had a very painful business partnership. My friend and colleague that I started Urban Balance with, when we got into that cash flow hell and we were in that really bad financial state, she made a decision to abruptly leave the business. She just couldn't handle the stress of it, had some other things going on in her life at the time, but exited very quickly. So a bunch of our staff left because they were like, this ship's going down. One of the owners just left. And so many of the staff took their clients as well. So I was already in a bad financial place. And then it got even worse. And years later, or a year later, she asked me for forgiveness. And we worked through that. I talk in the book about the importance of forgiveness, because resentment is hardened anger that keeps us tethered. And then shortly after that, I became aware that an insurance company had paid her a tremendous amount of money that was meant for my business. And it had been deposited into her bank account. And she spent it and later filed bankruptcy and was not able to pay me back. And it was at that point that I decided that this wasn't a healthy relationship in my life and needed to, I forgive her. I can't say I've completely forgiven her because I'm human and it's still something I'm working toward. But that was very painful. I thought we would be best friends until we were little old ladies. I would have folded the business 100 times over for the sake of our friendship and was deeply hurt. It was a big betrayal for me. And I had to let go of that. It turned out it was $160,000, which for me at that time was a life-changing amount of money that would have let me buy a home or, have a different life with my kids. And so I still have to work through some forgiveness, but the business that she was going to throw out the window and sort of ended up being worth a tremendous amount of money. So I talk in the book about sometimes we're sitting on a golden bench and we don't even realize it. It might be a business plan you have in you, a piece of art you've never showed anyone, a screenplay you've written, you've never submitted, a job you've never applied for. And so I encourage people to cash in on what they've built and what they have. They might not even realize the treasures that they had. I didn't even realize, I thought my business was in debt, but here it had value. And it wasn't until I met with a CPA that I learned that.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yes, indeed. The power of forgiveness, heck, even a testament to resilience, too. And also another testament to be careful you screw over because she ended up filing for bankruptcy later. She ended up causing her own grenade to pop.
Right. I feel bad for her, but yeah, it is about forgiveness and letting go. I think people come into our lives for a reason and we have learning experiences and some people stay and we grow together and sometimes we need to move on. But that letting go of resentment, I think, is so important because otherwise it can cause depression, it can cause physical illness, and it can keep you stuck. So letting go, wishing them well, and then moving forward on your journey, I think is really, really important. And that is resilience. It's when we go through those hard times and those dark days that we have resources emotionally and spiritually and in our relationally to move through those challenges and to come out stronger and more flexible and more balanced and more capable of handling challenges in the future.
Yeah, that's right. More capable indeed. So, speaking of more, you've been on this wonderful interview tour promoting this fabulous book and the work that you're doing. So, is there a question that you wish you'd be asked more often when you're on the guest side of the game on these podcasts?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. I think the question would be, what is my greatest hope for the work that I do? And my greatest hope, I consider it my soul's mission, is that I want to spread inspiration and tools for healing, for people to normalize mental health and financial health struggles, and to practice self-compassion and have tools and resources to heal, recover, thrive, and prosper. And that's why I do the work that I do, the speaking, the training, the writing, the blogging. I want to share what I've learned over the past 25 years and help others heal and live a better life as well.
And that's what you're doing today. That's what you're doing today because he's been dropping gems this whole episode. Indeed, that's right. Having that wonderful abundance mentality, letting go of past hurts, and being okay if you're not fully past it yet because we're all human. Nobody's perfect here. Nobody can be a perfect diamond shaped Greek statue all the time. It's just not going to happen, indeed. And heck, even a Greek statue in diamond form. That would be freaking amazing. But I think about, I was like, I was saying that visual, I'm like, wait a second. Oh, man. But yes, indeed. So speaking of helping folks get in their mind right, eventually getting their finances right as a result with this wonderful book. Fun question I've been loving to ask folks is that if this wonderful book, The Financial Mindset Fix, was a food item, what would it be and why?
Oh my goodness. I think it would be pizza. because everyone loves pizza. Everyone can benefit from pizza. And it has different layers. It's very comprehensive. There, you can have lots of different toppings, and there's something for everyone in there. So, and then we've got that wheel thing again. So pizza shaped.
You're quick on the draw with that. That's what I'm talking about. And I think you're actually the first one to really say pizza with that question, surprisingly.
That's a tough question.
Yeah, it ain't your everyday podcast question, so it's expected.
What are some of the other foods people have said?
To this day, one of them, well, there's a couple of them, but been my favorites. One guy, I think Chris Lovett, he said his book, The Discovery of Less, will be blueberries, since he was eating blueberries recently, and you can't just eat one blueberry, you have to eat a bunch of them. And another guest, he was actually a monk. He said his book on meditation would be The Supreme Meals, as in it would be whatever supreme meal is to you, that is to you. So, classic, deep thought answer.
Beautiful. Very cool. I love it.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Oh, someone did say their book was tacos, too, so that was also good.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That makes me hungry for lunch. That's
That's right. I told you this podcast was the danger zone.
Yep. You're a lot of fun, Dom, and you're spreading light in the world with the conversations that you're having.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, folks don't need to wake up in the dark all the time. Be like, yeah, let's look at the news, get in a bad mood, and then go to work in a bad mood, commute on the way in a bad mood, around other people in a bad mood. Like, no, I don't want to do all that. Definitely want to keep it different in here. Heck, actually, spreading light into the world, that actually, fun question for you, or at least one that just popped in my head as you said that. So, since you're an elite performer, what do you think of the 3 major habits that contribute to your sustainable success?
Meditation is definitely one. So I meditate daily, and I consider it a reboot for the mind, body, and spirit. I also like yoga a lot because it's meditation with movement. I think accessing support, so utilizing my support network, asking for what I need, nurturing my support network. I think the support network is the key to our success. And then I think really working on my relationship with myself and learning to accept and love and care about myself the way that I do my beautiful daughters and people who I love very dearly. And that can be a challenge, but it's something that we all need to kind of work toward, I believe.
Yeah, yes indeed, yes indeed. Definitely gotta do that indeed. Gotta take care of that mind. Gotta take care of those relationships indeed. That's right indeed. Right indeed. Yeah, because meditation, huge thing. Like just the morning meditation, no matter how much time it is, especially if it's just something like 5 minutes, like even 1 minute, better than no minutes. Like just doing that to really get yourself in that wonderful state, ready to tackle anything and everything indeed. So, we're coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive, and that is if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're 25 again, but you're in the current year of 2022 with all of your knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
Go for it. Go for it. I would say aim much higher with my ambitions and to not let fear get in my way. I would say that I'm deserving, I'm capable, and to not let fear be my mode of operation.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about indeed. That's right. Don't let that fear be your mode of operation, y'all. That's right. Don't walk around scared, y'all. That's right. That's right indeed. That's right. Always looking behind you and whatnot. Be like, oh shoot, I think a camel's trying to eat me. Like don't do that, y'all. That's right. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. That's right. Because we got a kip butt chick on the show who's done it and doing it, y'all. So for those who want to keep in touch with all the stuff that you're doing and going to be doing in the future, because this is only the beginning, what's the best way for folks to do so?
My website is joycemarter.com, JoyceMarter.com. And I'm on all the social media as Joyce Marter. And my book, again, is Financial Mindset Fix. It's on Amazon, it's in Barnes and Noble, it's on Audible, and I'd love to hear what people think.
Woohoo! Well, there you have it, folks. Reach out to the JM herself, the wonderful Joyce Marter. Indeed, check out all of her stuffs, all of her wares. It's good stuff. It's good for your mind, your body, soul, y'all. That's right. You'll get your whole pyramid right. That's right. For those, you might even get metaphorically all your chakras aligned, y'all. You get all them wheels spinning, indeed, y'all. That's right. She's got you covered like a blanket, indeed. And be sure to share with a penguin or a cat. Well, actually, don't share with the cat. It might tear up the book. The dog might tear it up either. Well, share with somebody, though. Share with everybody and they mama and they mama's mamas, indeed. And don't forget the daddies, too. So any parting words before we close up shop, Joyce?
Just wishing everyone love, peace, and prosperity. And thank you, Dom, for having me.
Thanks a bunch for tuning in and setting aside some of your time to listen to this wonderful podcast, Going North. If you really enjoyed what you heard, do me a solid and share this with your network and someone that you care about that would get something out of it too. And be sure to subscribe to hear more, and heck, even check out the backlog if you would like, because there are hundreds of episodes to choose from, and they just keep getting better and not butter.